Hello there guys, Senpai Game coming to you guys through 10.1 upgrade for the gear. Also on the end of this I will be touching on 10.0.7 for the ring. As of right now I'm going to be loading into 10.0.1 beta patch currently. This is due to change, not due to change, this is possible changes and stuff like that happening. Who knows? We are not completely sure as this is not a final product of 10.0.1 or 10.0.1, 10.1. So we are not too sure if it's going to be staying current or it'll be changing in live when it goes live. So understand that this is not a end-all be-all type explanation. This is going to be just the best of explanation I can with as much information as we are given. So I'll go ahead and touch on a few things here and there. The route that you should go about upgrading your gear, and how you should be viewing your crafted gear. Let's go get started. So first we'll talk about the gear and how it upgrades. Currently, as the explanation is put here, they're talking about how you're able to get gear from everything and it's all upgradable. As you're doing world quests and stuff like that, you might find gear that's Explorer or Adventure rank. I'm going to go ahead and load into this real quick and show you my map. As you can see out here where the assault is going on right now, the Fearock assault, I can get champion 1 out of 8 gear. Champion 1 out of 8. That means that it is currently right here, and it can be upgraded all the way to 437. So I'm able to find a 415 World Quest item, and it's upgradable to 437. So when you're out doing these world quests, you're going to be able to get these upgrade materials to upgrade your gear also, and you're also going to be able to get gear that is upgradable to a higher eye level than what you have currently. So if I look at that right there, it's a 415 versus my 421, but because it's able to be upgraded to 437, it is better for me to go get this piece of gear right now, finish off this assault, get the upgrade token from that, and then use it on this belt later. That is a good way of getting gear. However, to upgrade that piece of gear is going to cost me from champion 1 out of 8 to 2 out of 8. It's going to cost me 1 Drake Shadowflame crest plus flight stones, and then to upgrade it again, another crest, and then here it's going to cost me another crest, and one last crest. So it's going to cost me 7 crests to get this piece of gear from 415 to 437. There is a different way to go about upgrading gear. With this system and the way it's implemented, it's going to be very, very alt friendly. As you get your gear upgraded, it'll cost less and less to upgrade it too. When you have one piece of gear on your main character, let's say you have all of the gear on your main character at 441 hero 5 out of 5. All the future gear you get, and let's say the item you upgraded, so let me go ahead and alt tab back in. Let's say that this belt right here is not my best in slot stats, it's haste mastery, and I wanted main stat versus secondary haste. Well, when I find another belt that has my best in slot stats for me, I'm able to upgrade that belt with no costs to the crests, and half the cost of the fight stones. So if I was to go get that belt right now, I could upgrade it all the way to 421 for free. Basically, it just costs me flight stones. However, here I would need 1 Drake Shadowflame crest, and then I'd still need the 4 Worm Shadowflame crests to upgrade it all the way to 437. So I could technically go get that belt and upgrade it for free to 421. If it has better stats for me, I would go do that, which it kind of does. It has crit haste. Because it's higher crit, I can go get that belt and just do more damage if I wanted to, instead of the haste mastery. So it's a very viable way of going through and doing world quests. This is big to note too. This is an assault, and the assaults count as champion gear. Most world quest items currently are not scaling properly because they haven't implemented the new eye level upgrade yet. So this right here is showing us 366 eye level, which is not upgradable, but that'll be changing soon. So if we look at 366 eye level, it's not even here. So that's not even plausible to be here. So once they implement this next week with the Mythic Plus, we'll be able to see that a lot better. So back to the upgrading idea. When you get a piece of gear, Let's say I get this piece of gear at 402, and it's upgradable all the way to 424. And the slot that I have this in is, let's use my belt again as an example. My belt is 421, so I'm going to be able to upgrade that belt all the way to 7 out of 8 veteran for 50% off of the Flightstone costs. So let's say the Flightstone costs 100 per upgrade. It costs me 50 per upgrade instead, all the way to 421. And that's account wide. The only time that you don't cost crests is if you have a piece of gear on that character already that eye level or higher, then it doesn't cost crests. Now, as you can see, that's pretty straightforward. It's basically the Valor system beefed up. There's no IO requirement, there's no raid requirement, there's nothing like that. You can just upgrade that gear as you see fit, whenever you want. Let's say you get a new piece of gear from hero 1 out of 5, and you currently have a 424 weapon, and this one is not better than your weapon currently, but because you're able to upgrade it all the way to 441, it is better. Go ahead and do that. Spend your crest, upgrade that weapon to hero 5 out of 5. Now when you get that weapon that you had at veteran 8 out of 8, at hero 1 out of 5, the one that you had the best stats on, you're going to be able to upgrade it all the way to hero 5 out of 5 for 50% off Flightstones and no crest cost. This is to make it to where you're able to upgrade your gear immediately and not feel like you got a piece of gear that's completely worthless. So no matter how high of an upgrade you go, the future upgrades for that slot will not cost crests. This is not to include offhands or dual wielding and trinkets and rings. Those you still need to have both item slots capped out for that to not cost crests. So if you have 2 trinkets at 441, then all future trinkets will not cost crests. If you have 1 trinket at 424, veteran out of 8, and the other one's 411, adventure 8 out of 8, then you go to upgrade another trinket that you just got that's veteran 4 out of 8 to veteran 8 out of 8. It's still going to cost you crests to upgrade because you don't have both trinkets at 424. So be understanding about that. If you were to get it veteran 1 out of 8, you'd be able to upgrade it to veteran 4 out of 8 for free, or not for free, but no crest costs, and just 50% off the Flightstones. Now, as they say down here, the crests that you get are going to be capped out to 10 per week. 10 of each level. So you get 10 aspects, 10 worms, 10 drakes, and 10 whelplings. This is to limit players from getting max eye levels right away. And it's really big to note that because whenever you go to do that, you can use crafted gear. Oh, I'm tailoring currently. You can use crafted gear to upgrade your gear right away. So let's say you're leveling up an alt, enchanting trainer, train, accept, train. Let's say leveling up an alt, right? And you want to just gear it up fast. Well, good news for you. Nothing here requires sparks anymore. Nothing. So sparks are the thing of Season 1 and they're gone. Thank God. Let's say you get 1 Whelpling Shadowflame Crest. You now use that 1 Whelpling Shadowflame Crest. As you can see, you need 4 of them to make it 411. But you can use 1 of these to make them 408. So basically you're able to make a crafted piece of gear to 408 right away in that slot. So your new character, you could have 10 Whelpling Shadowflame Crests in week 1 and slam all 10 of these onto crafted gear. Basically just not the 5 slots of tier, and then possibly not your weapon because you want to use your other crafted piece for your weapon. You can slam all these into your gear, and these are blue quality gear to 408. Basically every crafter is going to be able to craft this for you at 408 very, very cheap because it is blue quality gear. Well, now you have basically a full 10 slot 408 gear, and now you're getting World Quest items that are 411 to 412 to 415s right away. That is very, very good. Then you go on to the worms. Let's say you get 3 worm Shadowflame Crests, right? And you're like, you know what? To upgrade this to 437, because as you can see, the worms here goes for 428 to 437. You're like, you know what? I need to spend 4 of these worm crests to upgrade a piece of gear, but I want to upgrade my weapon. and it's very, very costly to upgrade my weapon. I want to just craft a weapon. Well, good news for you. You can spend 3 of these instead of 4 and slam it into this bad boy and give yourself a 437 weapon right away. And because it only costs 3, you can actually spend 9 of these, which would be 12 if you were to upgrade from champion. Because again, I'm taking alt right now. From champion to champion 8 out of 8 would cost you 12 to get 437s. So now you're able to get 3 pieces of gear at 437 crafted. So this is 10 and this is 13. That means there's 3 slots left that are not crafted that are still lower eye level, but will be fixed with doing mythic pluses, doing world quests, doing anything you want to do, and you're able to freely upgrade them now. On top of that, if you spend all 9 of your shuttling crests here for worms, that means you're going to be able to upgrade all of your gear to champion 8 out of 8 for free with no crests in that slot, no matter what. So let's say you get a tier piece. Let's say you craft a helm or a shoulders or chest or gloves or pants, and you get a tier piece later on. Because you can't change crafted gear into tier pieces, well, that tier piece now no longer costs any crests to upgrade, except for to hero 5 out of 5. That is pretty big. That saves you a lot of time for later on for your alts. On your main, you'd want to spend some of these aspect shuttling crests on this piece of gear here to get 447. Now, as I said before, you can get 10 maximum. It's going to be an issue to get 10 aspects shuttling crests unless you're doing high-end content, which can be what appears to be here, heroic gear out of level to 441 or crafted optional gear to 434 to 447. One would assume this is either from heroic or mythic raid. Most likely going to be mythic raid and heroic raid, because mythic doesn't have upgrade tokens anymore. So it's probably going to be from higher end mythic content or even mythic raid, mythic plus content, because right here mythic gear does not have an upgrade system. So that's going to be super exciting. Make sure you use this for your crafted gear that you actually are going to be keeping, like your embellished items. Make sure you do research on your embellished items and all that good stuff. Now let's touch on a little bit on the embellished items. Now, embellished items, you can only have 2 equipped and are crafted, as I currently have Elemental Lariat and the Flaring Cowl. If I was to upgrade both of these to 447 right away on week 1, that'd be fine. They'd be really good. And then if I ever got a helm that was better than this, I would just swap out this helm and use that helm instead, because I could upgrade it all the way to 447 for free, basically. So do some research on that. Know what you need to craft and upgrade. Now, let's move on to 10.0.7, the Primordial Gem and the Onyx Annullet. So the Onyx Annullet comes out in 2 weeks from now. 2-week resets. It is going to be attainable in the Azekara Vault, and it's a new activity. This ring comes with 3 primordial sockets with no secondary stats. If you are a class that is relying on your ability of your embellishment to affect your rings, as I have the Flaring Cowl currently, because I don't do any fire damage, to proc my Diana ring, you can actually run this ring instead of that slot. So you could always just better stat yourself or replace that piece of gear entirely with this ring and not have to worry about that. Because there is dealing damage can set enemy on fire, dealing fire damage over time. This will proc the Diana ring or the Airnog ring, because you wouldn't be able to wear both to have this ring equipped. This ring starts at 405 eye level. The primordial stones start at 411 eye level. The ring is the average eye level of all 3 stones. When you do the vaults, you get a random stone. If you don't like the stone you have, you can crush it into 6 dormant primordial fragments. You can then use 10 of these to get a random primordial stone from the element that you want. Once you get your 3 stones that you want, mind you, could have all of them if you want. You don't have to break them down. You can just keep rerunning it, and whenever you duplicates, you can just smash those if you want and just keep one of each. It's up to you. After you have the 3 that you're going to be using mainly, You then want to find a jewel crafter who has the unstable elementium pattern, and you have to spend 10 dormant primordial fragments and 25 silken gem dust per unstable elementium. You need 2 of these for each stone, so you need 6 in total to upgrade the 3 main primordial stones you'll be using to 424. That means in 2 weeks, every single player can have a 424 ring that is basically the Aerodog ring on crack. This thing does 17,332 fire damage over 7 seconds at 411. At 424, this is going to be doing a lot more than that, probably 21, 22k. That is a lot of damage over 7 seconds. If you pair this with the frost damage for 16,000 fire frost damage, that's also going to scale insanely high. Then because this is a fire and this is a frost, you scale that with the arcane humming. This does 8,422 arcane damage for each primordial stone family you have equipped. This makes it to where you do 24,000 damage on proc with this base. This might scale up to 10,000 when it's at 424, so you're doing 30k procs. The other good one for proc damage is going to be the Serious Bloodstone. You deal 12,000 shadow damage and heal for that damage also. At 424, this might be 15,000, maybe 14,000, and this is going to be a lot of healing done to you. These 4 gems are probably going to be the highest used gems for them. Unless, of course, you're a DH. If you're a DH, you're going to run the Flame Lick Stone. Also, with the Successful Interrupts Exhale Smoke, dealing fire damage to all enemies in an 8-yard cone in front of you, because you're going to be running the Entropic Fellstone. Fire damage dealt by primordial stones is increased by 60% and is now Chaos damage. Since your Mastery makes you scale Chaos damage, these are now going to be doing a lot more damage. Of course, if you wanted to, you can just run the Flame Licked, the Entropic Fail, and then the Frost. So you don't have to rely on kicks, because you may not have kicks a lot, so it's better to just run this over everything else. You would think that this Echoing Thunderstone is good for Demon Hunters, but you have to move a lot for this to get full value. You're not going to have that happen a lot. And so it's better off just to run this, or you can run the Shadow Damage Drain Life one. But yeah, so that's basically the rundown of the Onyx Annullet. It's going to be a lot of fun to go and do. You're going to have a lot of fun just doing the vault thing. Forbidden Reach, it's going to be a lot of fun to explore before we go into the ground for 10.1. I hope this all helped. I hope that this just gives you some more information and a little bit more background on all this stuff. I do recommend reading all this on your own time sometime and doing some research on yourself. But if you ever need more information, please feel free to leave in the comments below. I'll be more than glad to look at them and try and respond to them as quickly as I can. Thank you guys, and have a good day.